Hey people, I watched this video yesterday of Charlie Kirk. And a grown man that goes to school looking for little boys, that's called a child predator. And so Charlie Kirk, you see him sitting at the table wanting to debate everybody. And he prefers to go to schools, because he knows he could find a bunch of dumb little kids there. The majority of them are gay these days. He knows he can find a debate. He won't debate a real man.
Best chances are Charlie's a closet homosexual. That big bully at school that always wanted to fight with you? He was just wanting to get his hands on you. He just wanted to get naked and wrestle with you. Charlie's probably really a Greek.
So I'm going to give y'all kids a bunch of information so you could debate Charlie when he comes to your school. In that video I watched, he picked out a little gay boy and he tried to debate him in the Bible to show it's wrong, that a marriage is between a man and a woman. And if Charlie could read Hebrew as he pretends to be a Jew, he would know that that's pronounced a swastika. Ace, a man, and swastika, his wife. A man and his wife is a swastika.
You can see it here in Genesis 6 when it's talking about and your sons and your wife. Your wife is a wastika. Ignore all the vowel points. That's bull. They just added that later. But your wife, is this K on the end. A swasta is anybody's wife, but your wife is a wastika. And the man, you can see it here in Genesis 7 too. Ace, A-I-S. Ignore all these vowel points. That's bull. A male and his female as wasta. W-A-S-T-U. And so this his here, it actually comes from this. His and W-A-S-T-U. And his was too. When it's your, then it ends with the K. And a swastika. And his was took. And you see that come again just down here. And his female. A swastu. And his was two. And it takes two to sin, and that's what that means. And who a sign actually read that actually reads it a sign his was two, the one you're on. But they'll switch this up to whoever fits their purpose. They'll change the words throughout the Bible. And the entire Bible, they do this. They omit words that just don't fit their new purpose. Then you shall delight yourself in Yahweh, and I will cause you to ride on bleep earth. What kind of earth? Well, in Moody, that's in Moody Moot. That's dead earth. And it just didn't fit, so they left it out. But they plainly say here, in Moody. In Moody means die. When I am dead, the dead earth. Make him Moody Moot, shut him up. So in a dead earth I shall feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. I will feed you Jacob's children. And so if you're Jewish, you think that when you call a fast, you think that means to not eat. But the fast is totally the opposite of that. A fast means to cram it in as fast as you can. And it cram, Q-R-A, and then backwards, M. The cram, W-T-S. Cram, whatsum. Cram it in as fast as you can. And so if you were Jewish, that would be the jewels. The J-O-E, this is British. O-E is a odal. It reads as a O-Vav. And it's a J-O-U-L-Z. The jewels, it a cram, whatsum. To go in and steal all the jewels is what a fast means. So this is a symbol of 4 G's. These are 4 feet in the bed getting busy. A man and his wife. And so what this means is it ain't nobody else's business. You don't see 6 feet. It's not a man and his wife and the church. You don't see 8 feet. It's not a man, his wife, the church, and the government. It ain't nobody else's business. It's a swastika, a man and his wife. The ancient symbol of good luck. If she's hidden behind a veil, good luck. You don't know what that wife is. I think that last movie I did, Isaiah 50, told a funny story about that. But it's an ancient symbol, and it has nothing to do with religion and government.
So who outlawed the symbol of marriage between a man and his wife? The Jews did. They're the ones that outlawed the swastika. The first covenant with man, and God made a covenant with Noah of the sign of the rainbow. What do you think that means? And actually, it doesn't say that in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, it says white power forever. That was changed later. And if you say the Bible's still identical, no, go ahead and Google it. You'll find out that they just add all the vowel points within the last 1,000 years. For over 1,000 years, people were reading the Bible with no problem in Paleo Hebrew, in Old Block style Hebrew, without all the vowel points. That was just added later when they tried to change the meaning. Why do you think that Joseph's brothers sold him to the slave wagon? Because his coat of many colors. They couldn't stand him. He was gay. So they try to put it out as unnatural. And just like anybody else, I don't like to see it. It's surely running rampant. It's a lot more these days. But I'm glad I can see it. I'm glad I can see, because I know where it comes from. It comes from stress on the environment. You can do it with plants. You can do it with animals. You can do it with people. And they knew it. The more stress on the environment, the more the earth knows to change it up. And everybody's looking toward heaven for a God. But no, that God is inside the earth. Everything's connected, and the earth knows what to do to cure itself. It'll stop human population if there's too much. How do you do that? Well, you make them all gay. And there's a group of doctors that say they can spot it at birth by measuring the taint. The distance between the anus and your genitalia tells whether you're going to be more feminine or masculine. And it works on girls and boys. Look it up. I learned this when I was about 28 years old. I was studying on growing marijuana. I want to grow the best marijuana. And that's when I learned that there's more than two sexes of marijuana. You might have a male and a female on each ends of the spectrum, but in between there, you've got at least 3 other sexes that you can control by stressing its environment. By the nitrogen content in the soil at germination will determine whether it comes up a male or a female. Later on in the season, if you want this plant to morphodite, you can do it by icing the roots. Let it think that the snow's coming, and it'll quickly throw out the opposite buds. Not all plants. Some of us can't be twisted no matter what they feed us, We just one way, but there's a bunch of variable sexes in the between.
So if Charlie Kirk was really a Jew, he would know that a Hebrew is a cross between an Irish and a British. Old Brit. All the Irish, their name starts with the O. And a Brit is a British Irish. The Irish were the first slaves. A Hebrew is an astrologer. It's one of them words that they try to hide here. But a Ebru, Hebrew, the brew. And when it's talking about all those evil people, upon the evil not shall you know what arises and shall fall, the stars. Upon you trouble not, you'll be able to put it off. And shall come upon you suddenly desolation, not which you shall know. And stand now with your enchantments and multitude of sorceries, in which you have labored from your youth. Perhaps you will be able to profit, perhaps you will prevail. And you are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let's stand up now and save you, the Hebrews, the astrologers. In Genesis 9, in this first covenant, in that sign of the covenant, it was the British, ASH. And then this tack after the R means to read that backwards. And it's, RN or Ren, and that's where the word children come from. It's the Egyptian word for to getting that ass to Ren. The British Ren, and the other way on intend. My intentions I make, and the covenant in which I make the British written on in tin. The covenants with the British. And this covenant, this sign of the rainbow, this is at and backwards after this tack, ITS. And at its fist, FST, at its fist in TTI reads as a TIT. A double consonant reads as the second one is a Y, and a yod following a double consonant reads as that consonant, TYT. At its fist in tight, in any, the double N reading as a ONY. In any white, the WHITE, WEITE. In any white, and it shall be, the white. In any white, loud, in writ, and let it be writ, the covenant, and let it be so, in writ, Benny. And this is the word for the son, a Benny is your son. They'll say it means the son of the right hand, Benny, the sons or children of, the Benny of in, UVIN, of in hears, and the son of in hears. At its fist in tight, in any white, loud in writ, Benny of in hears. So it was only later when they tried to make the Bible more inclusive to everybody that they changed the meanings of this. But all the real Hebrews knew what it meant, the Brits.
And as to the abortion issue, I'm one of them people that believes that men can't get pregnant. And therefore, I really have no say what a woman does with her body. But I do believe that our government tax dollars shouldn't be funding abortion clinics. And according to the statistics, they say it's just the Democrats that they're aborting anyway. Why would the Republicans even want to fight with that? But it all goes down to the same thing. It has to do with insurance. As roofing and cutting trees, my insurance runs like almost 40%. And I'm sure the doctor's malpractice insurance probably runs up 50% or more. When I was a kid, you could go visit a doctor and you could pay him with the cash in your wallet, But it's all the government regulations that force that out. Now you can't visit a doctor without insurance. It's not going to talk to you. It's the same as a swastika. It's between a man and his wife and not the government and not the religion. When you get government and religion out of everything, it'll be much better.
So the way I see it, Charlie Kirk is just a big whole closet homosexual fraud, and he likes to pick on children. And if you're watching this, I'm going to put this up on my old channel. And if you want to learn more about how to read the ancient Hebrew, which is actually the ancient Brit, I'll leave a comment down there with this red frowny face. This is my new channel, Strictly Educational Magic without the K. I had to move because YouTube let me know that they'll never let me monetize my old channel. They don't like some of my subject matter because I don't believe anything the mainstream tells me. And I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.